What's up, YouTube? Today we are going to be talking about time under tension. Basically, how to build your muscle better and how to facilitate a pump better with time under tension. Now, as you'll see, time under tension is really when your muscle is filling up with blood and it is pumping the blood drastically. But the thing is, these cells, your blood cells, it is pumping so many that it'll actually make your muscle swell, and it'll make it slightly bigger than its normal size for a short amount of time. And I'm not saying drastically bigger, but slightly, maybe sometimes, maybe even an inch bigger, depending on how big your arms are in general. But the good part about your pump is when you get the pump, it feels very good. The thing is, if you get the pump and you don't work the pump good enough, you're not going to build muscle, you're just going to get a good pump. There's the difference between getting a pump and building muscle. If you get a pump and you think your workout is finished right when you get a pump, that's actually very wrong, because that's when the workout is supposed to begin, when you get your pump. You see, when you're getting your pump, you want to make sure that when that liquid is filling up, that all those extra blood cells are in that muscle, and your nutrients are going straight into it, you want to hit it as hard as possible with as many reps as possible. The reason is because you're focusing on that muscle to build. And when you're focusing on that muscle to build, it needs that time under tension, and that's where a pump and time under tension combine. It's where you need to put that muscle, that certain group of muscle, under a certain time limit for the pump to continue. So say you were going to do a set and you already had your pump. Well, now that you have your pump, you want to essentially time your set. So when you're timing your set, you want to hit your set, right? And then make sure that you have that pump and that contraction. And that is when your time under tension starts. So say I do a curl and I am curling. I want to make sure to put that tension that I feel when I curl up. I want to get the most time out of that feeling, that sore, aching, throbbing feeling. And that sounds that sore, aching feeling. And you want to keep it under that tension for as long as possible. Now, this is going to really damage your muscles if you're doing it good with a good pump. It's not necessarily going to do too much if you're not focused on building muscle. Then you're just going to build muscle. You're not really going to gain strength. You're not really going to gain any strength from this. This is strictly muscle growth and hypertrophy. A good thing I say is when you use a good pump pre-workout, to use that time under tension, that pump pre-workout is going to essentially give you a longer lasting pump. That way you have that feeling of a nice pump during your workout for the whole time, instead of getting a pump, taking a rest set, and then boom, you hit your back and you don't have a pump, so you have to earn that pump again. It's better to have a pump before every exercise you do. It's best to keep a pump, not lose it between exercises. Another good way to keep your pump is make sure you carb up before your workout. Dry carbs, preferably rice cakes, dry carbs, and a small amount of protein. That dry carbs are going to essentially fill up the glucose lost in your bloodstream the night before, but it's going to fill up the glucose in your bloodstream throughout the whole day that you used up or didn't have in general. And that is going to essentially swell up your muscle as well. That's going to add on to your pump. It's always best to add sodium too. Sodium, I suggest salting your carb, salting your rice, salting your anything. Make sure you get salted rice cakes. That's literally the best way to keep a pump as well. Sodium load and carb load, and you're gonna be straight. Bag of Cheetos if you're bulking is literally the best thing to get good pumps and vascularity. The reason is because it's so sodium loaded with so much carb and then a slight amount of fats, and that's Cheetos are the perfect thing if you want a vascularity and a massive pump. I learned that from Frank McGrath, crazy bodybuilding freak. Some people might know him. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Gorilla Life Finesse was on the scenes. Hope you enjoyed. Leave likes, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.